Hi, I'm Kim with Kolme Group, and my partners and I came from probably where you are right now, in that we ran our own respective PMOs and delivery teams, and we were always looking for new ways to deliver better for our organizations. And we were constantly frustrated with the basics, like getting timesheets entered on time, getting forecasts and status reports done, and optimizing our team's utilization. And so we started Kolme Group because we actually found some solutions to these problems using the right combination of processes, change management, and modern PPM tools. In fact, in my organization alone, the implementation of the right systems increased our billable utilization by 20%. But today, the tool I want to share with you is a newer one that our own team has been using since February of this year, and it has been a game changer. And this is what I'll be sharing with you over the next few minutes. And here's where our story starts. Our favorite thing in the world, time entry. Time tracking is a fact of life, unfortunately, for most organizations. And the reason for that is that our most valuable resource is our people. And the way we spend that resource is in units of time. We assign their time to go and do tasks or projects within our organization. And so time becomes the currency within our organization for our resources. And that's why time logging is important. It's also very easy to see if you're a professional services organization. Time entry and time tracking can be directly linked with the revenue that your company gets. If you have an internal PMO and your resources work on internal projects, you may be capitalizing that cost, so that can have some important impacts. But even aside from that, it helps to keep your team from being overutilized because you understand how busy your team is, what they're spending their time in, and you can prioritize that on more important things. And it also helps you manage your team's capacity and their skills along the way and make sure your team has the right level of skills. In short, as Lord Kelvin said, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. And so that's why time entry is so important. Now, it's so important, that means that we all like time entry, right? Well, maybe not so much. And maybe this picture illustrates how you have to spend every Monday morning finding out where's your timesheets, why haven't you done your timesheets? And on the flip side, we might be thinking, gosh, why can't I get my timesheets? And it's a constant battle in most organizations. And you might be trying to care, you might be trying to stick, to try and encourage it, but it's always frustrating. And maybe it stinks, and maybe it's tough, but is it really a problem? Well, actually, yeah, the fact that you don't have timely time entry can be a really big problem because you're probably missing time entries. The longer somebody waits to enter their time, the less accurate it's going to be. I don't know about you, but I can't remember what I did last Tuesday for 8 hours of my day, and the same is probably for you and for all of your team members. And so, in addition to that, the weekly or monthly timesheet scavenger hunt that you have to go through to run around and try to get everybody to enter their time, that wastes your time, it wastes their time, and it also is not great for morale. And so you might stop to think, well, how accurate do you think your time entry is? Let's do a little bit of math and run a little scenario. And these are probably not going to be numbers that you have in your organization, but it will give us something to walk through. So let's have this imaginary organization and assume they only have an error margin of 1 hour per week per resource. That's 2.5% error margin, 97.5% accuracy. And that's probably pretty generous, especially if you only do timesheets monthly, because as I said, I can't remember what I did for 8 hours last Tuesday, let alone all 40 hours or going back several weeks. So in this case, we've got 20 full-time employees. They average $90,000 average salary. We're targeting 70% utilization, and let's say their average billable rate is $200 per hour. So if we take these numbers and say, what does that mean? That accuracy of 97.5%, is that pretty good? What are we missing out with that 2.5%? It can't be that bad. Actually, it kind of is. So using these numbers, we are potentially losing or misallocating $45,000 worth of cost in a year. Worse yet, we could be missing out on as much as $138,000 revenue. That's a lot of revenue, and that's assuming that we're only getting 1 hour off per week. And I'll wager most of us, and I know this was the case for our team, we were probably a lot more off than 1 hour per week. 138, that's really a head count. And some of our customers share that they've lost a lot more than this. So in this particular case, this customer says they think they've lost $150,000 in billable hours in the past year alone because of employees not tracking their time correctly. In addition to all that, the lost revenue, which is really bad, misallocated cost, not good at all, it also stinks. Time entry is not fun. Nobody wants to be either one of these people, the person chasing down the timesheets or the person who's supposed to be entering the timesheets, and many of us, like myself included, are both. And it stinks. But then we think, oh, well, we've got all these great time entry tools. We've got web-based tools. I've got mobile apps. You can even go out and find these physical devices. You can flip the cube and it tells you, logs the time for you for what you're doing. And there are 1,000 time entry memes out on the internet to help remind people to go and do their time entries. And you know what? It still stinks to get time entry done and to get it done regularly. If we step back and think about why is it so difficult? Well, it's not really the tool. The tool is not really the problem because everyone's aware that time entry is important. Most everybody can use the tool to enter their time. It's pretty easy. The challenge is that we're just not motivated to do it. We've got other things that we want to be doing. It's low on the list and it's just not fun or engaging. And I'm not really necessarily in a lot of trouble if I don't do it. But what if we could make time entry a positive experience? And what if we could make it maybe a team building experience at the same time? That's a double win. And what if we could do those things and at the same time get more accurate time entry? That would be a huge, huge win. Well, we can using gamification. And by gamification, I'm not talking about giving little badges on your timesheet. Oh, look, you've done 3 in a row. Big deal. I'm talking about real gamification with real rewards. We're going to use scientific principles to harness competitive instincts among our team members. We're going to use group dynamics, the fact that I don't want to let my team down. I want to be part of that. I want to help my team. I don't want to be the one to drag everybody down. We're also going to use that little dopamine hit like Facebook is notorious for to get people to want to go in over and over and get that little bit of gratification each time. And one of the ways we're going to do this is we're going to tie in real physical rewards, which I'll talk about here in a bit. And when we do those things and we do them often enough, we start to build a habit. And once we do it long enough and it becomes a habit, the resistance really starts to go away and you don't have to push as hard because it's part of what we usually do as part of our daily activities. And how do we do that? Well, we do that through TimeJam. TimeJam is a service that we work with, and their slogan is make every hour count. And we're a very close partner with them, and we just love what this system does. And what it does is this: it makes time entry a social endeavor, not just a social endeavor, but a team-based activity using humor, positive reinforcement, and with real rewards to get time entry done more accurately than you've ever seen it before. Let me tell you how it works. First of all, let's talk about the prerequisites. You've got to have your own time entry system in place. And if you don't have one, at Kolme Group, we can help you with that, but you need some kind of a way to enter time online. You also need some kind of an instant messaging platform so that we can engage from the team perspective. Slack is brilliant for this. Teams also works great, Microsoft Teams, and there are probably some other tools out there. If you've got some other platform, we can talk to you about maybe integrating with that. In addition, you need to invest in some kind of a monthly reward. It doesn't have to be big, and I guarantee what you'll get back in terms of accurate time entry will pay for it, but you need some kind of a monthly reward, and you need the TimeJam service to pull it all together. Let's talk about this. So the first step is what you'll do is you'll create cross-departmental teams. And the idea is we want to mix people up across different teams. And this is where some of the team building starts to come in because you're going to be teamed up with people maybe you're not used to working with, maybe you don't know them very well. And we're going to start building those relationships. So we're going to mix those teams up and the teams will compete each month for the prize. And at the end of each quarter, we'll take and we'll reshuffle the team so you have a whole new group of people to get to know. And this does a couple things. First, more people get to know more people, which is great. And also, if a team just seems to kind of lag a little bit, or you've got a team that's always winning, team members don't give up after a while. And so what we do by shuffling it keeps the game fresh, keeps the team fresh. And in this illustration, we've got a lot of people and a lot of teams. We can work with as little as 2 teams and 10 people. And that works just great. We've seen that and it works great. So first step, create your teams. The next step is we're going to do time entry as usual. Team members don't have to do anything unusual. They don't have to go out of their way. They just have to go and do their time entry. On the back end, what we'll do is we'll work with you and your organization in TimeJam and create an integration with your time entry service so we can see how many hours each team member should be working and how many hours they've actually reported. Now let's talk about the points, and this is where the game comes in. The gaming aspect is this, is that depending on how long it's been since between the time that you log your time and when the time the work was performed, the longer that is, the fewer points you get. So if I work on Monday and I enter the time on Monday, in this illustration, you can see I get full points. I get 10 points. If I worked on Monday and I enter that time on Tuesday, well, I only get 8 points. And so on. If I log my time on Wednesday for things I did on Monday, I only get 6 points, and so on. And so the idea is we are trying to motivate and give maximum points for timely time entry. And that's when you're going to have the best understanding of how much time you spent on something is if you log it right after you did it, or at least the same day that you did the activity. Now, here comes the social piece. TimeJam will integrate with your instant messaging platform. Here we've got our Slack channel, and each of the teams is given their own channel. So here we have the Guitar Heroes. This is one of our teams, and you can see we've got Oliver, David, Renee, and so on that are part of this team. And this is their private team for seeing their results, for cheering each other on, and trying to help each other win. And in this team, what we see is we see a lot of fun interaction because we're all trying to win. It's playful. We see memes. We see GIFs posted. TimeJam service will actually also post some of this multimedia to make it more engaging and make it more fun. And that's what we want. We want to see the team cheer each other on through the process of entering time. And at the end of each week, within our private channel among our team, TimeJam will tell us how many points each team member won. So you can see here, Oliver and David got 100%. They entered all their time on time. We see Renee might have slipped a little bit. George slipped a little more, and Mads, missing a lot. And this is another part of the dynamics of the game coming in, because I know if I start missing my time entry, everyone's going to know, and I'm going to be dragging my team down. And this is where we can offer encouragement, we can support each other, we can remind each other and hold each other accountable within our respective teams for time entry. And let me tell you, it really works. For me personally, when we rolled this out on our team, there were 2 occasions where I did my day of work, and then at the end of the night, I went to bed and I lay in bed, falling asleep, and I woke up, jumped out of my bed, ran downstairs, and I entered my time for the day because I'd forgotten. And the reason I did that, I didn't want to be the one to make my team lose or lose out on points. And I actually did that twice before I finally learned to get my time on time. And so while our goal isn't to get people up out of the middle of the night to run downstairs and enter their time, I think that shows the power of the team dynamic in encouraging people and driving people to go and do their time entry for support of their team. Now, you might be thinking, well, what if I have different numbers of team members on different teams? Or I've got some team members that are part-time, some are full-time, some are contract. How do we do that? Well, we've got a method for balancing all that. That's our team multiplier that you see right here. And what that does is that literally levels the playing field. So if I've got different numbers of team members, whatever the case might be, they're all going to be playing even. It's a fair game all the way around. Once a week, a leaderboard is published in the general channel so that all team members get to see what their standings are, and it helps motivate team members and drives them to go and do their time entry. And we see a lot of fun amongst teams. So here's an example of one team. They were so into the game that they created their own internal t-shirt to be the king of time entry, and they would offer it up to whoever on their team got perfect scores on their time entry. Not part of the program, but it's kind of fun to try and drive the game and do different things to encourage your team. Now, let's talk about what happens when you win. Now, ideally, we'd love to see a team activity. So a team goes out, team competes, team wins, then the team gets to celebrate together at a team dinner, team activity. The reality in the post-pandemic world is that most of us are virtual, so maybe a team event's really hard for a lot of us, and sometimes maybe not even really practical depending on pandemic situation. And so what we've actually found a lot of success in is really more individual reward. So everybody gets a $25 or $30 gift card towards Amazon, iTunes, whatever. They can choose one of these and we'll send them the gift card. It's a real reward that they get. They get to gloat about it. They get to enjoy the spoils of victory. And it works out for everybody, even in a remote team. So that's the game. And you might think, well, does this actually really work? Well, yeah. TimeJam customers report 30% more hours tracked per employee per month on average. 95% of hours are tracked on time, and you can get up to 10% more billable hours logged by your team. Now, how about us at Kolme Group? What have we found? Well, we found this is really interesting. This is a report that we generated out of our time entry system of just the first few months that we used TimeJam. And you can see the chart shows the average duration or the average age of a timesheet before it was entered into the system. And you see we were averaging around 6 days or so. It was higher in the beginning, last year. And we implemented TimeJam down here on the right in February of 2021. And you see our average days before entry was 0 instantly. And we were really excited by that. Wow, everybody's going to enter their time. And then what you see right after that, you see it actually started to creep up in March. And we thought, well, that's really interesting. Has the buzz worn off? Were people tired of it? Was the novelty gone? And they're like, oh, I don't really care anymore. But what you see in month 4 really is encouraging in that it's a self-reinforcing activity. What happened was team members got a little lazy after the first month and they didn't do their time entry, and it maybe cost them the game, or they saw another team win. And so it encouraged people to go back to entering their time. And so we see it in month 4 drop right back down, and it stayed consistently at 0. When I'm recording this right now, we're in August, and we're still consistently at less than a day time entry across all of our teams. So for us, it's been a resounding success, and our team is having still a lot of fun with it, and they love to see who's going to win the rewards at the end of the month. One important thing I want to point out is that TimeJam encourages on-time time entry. It does not incentivize logging extra time or overtime. We're not trying to get our people to work more hours. We want them to log accurately the hours that they do work on a project. So how does all this work? Well, I'll give you a little bit of a view here. Here on the left, I've got my time entry system. In this case, it's Clarizen. I've got an API integration with the TimeJam service. The TimeJam service also links into your social network. In this case, we've got Slack. And what this does is we're able to pull data out of Clarizen, run it through our rules engine. It talks to the Storybot and updates the social network. And that's what helps get our team engaged with our time entry. Now, let's talk about something really interesting. If we can gamify and track and incentivize based on time entry, what else can we gamify? Well, actually, we can gamify pretty much anything else that goes on in your project and portfolio management system, your CRM, your ERP, anything that we can measure, we can gamify. Let's talk about gamifying on-time status report submission or up-to-date project plans. Revenue forecast accuracy, or tracking forecast versus actual. How about customer satisfaction survey sent, or the scores that you receive? What about sales or revenue goal achievement? These are all things that we can gamify for you and your organization just as easily as we can gamify timesheet entry. Let's talk about a couple of frequently asked questions. We already covered this first one, which is, does TimeJam encourage logging overtime or working overly long hours? And the answer, of course, is no. What if you have different team members with different working hours per week? Or if you've got vacation, does that impact point standings? The answer is no, because TimeJam queries for calendar exceptions, calendar capacity from your systems. So assuming that your systems know or can track what these time that team members are supposed to work versus what they are actually working, we can pull that data in and we can work with that and adjust the game accordingly. Next, what if our teams have different numbers of people or different total working hours? Is anyone penalized? Nope, that was our team multiplier, which leveled the playing field. Next question, what if I have contractors on my team? Well, contractors with variable hours are also supported and won't count against or for one team or another. Next, when we create our teams for TimeJam, should they be cross-departmental or the same department? We really recommend cross-departmental teams. It really adds a lot of fun. Mixing up the teams also keeps the game fresh, so definitely mix it up. Finally, do we have to have Slacker teams? And the answer is you need to have some kind of a collaboration platform to make all this work. If you use a different tool other than Slacker teams, let us know. We might be able to help get TimeJam supported for that, and we'll work with you on the integration. Now, you might be thinking, well, that's all great, but what does all this cost? Well, I'll break it down for you. So the first thing is for basic onboarding. It's going to be $1,600 for the first group that you have. Very easy setup. We'll come with you, work with your team, help set it up. We'll have a planning workshop. We'll help you set up the groups. We'll help you pick out the rewards. We'll have team communication templates you can use. And then we'll also support you with Q&A for this first month for only $1,600 for the first team. And as you roll on additional teams, if you would like some help, that's going to be $800 for each additional group. So really, really simple pricing structure there. Now, what if I step back and I think, time entry is a problem, but it's really not the whole problem? What if my team really doesn't understand the importance of time entry? What if, we've got some other changes. We're implementing a project and portfolio management system, and time entry is just one piece of it. And I need this time entry to go on with a larger change initiative. Well, our team are ProSci certified. We have ProSci certified change managers on our team, and we can get involved and we can help you out with some initial surveys and to help you take a holistic view of change across your entire organization. And that is $3,200 for the first group. And then later on, as we roll on additional groups, if you like, we can get engaged for $1,600. Now, what if you want customized gamification? You want games for your or for your financial forecasting or status reporting. We can develop new games for that. Each one of those is going to be different in complexity and scale. So we can work with you and scope those individually if that's something you're interested in. But what about the TimeJam subscription fees? Well, teams up to 30 users is $200 per month, and additional users are $5 per month per user. Now, if you're thinking, that's not cheap. It's actually, if you think about it in terms of the value you get, first of all, it's really not that expensive compared to other time entry systems themselves. But we think of it this way. So our team we're under that 30 user threshold. And we found that capturing one additional hour per month paid for the license fees completely. And so for us, it's an absolute no-brainer. That money is made back the first time I recover 1 hour of effort. And so we encourage you to think about it that way too. How valuable is that hour of time that you would need to recover for this? And I think you'll find that the ROI is pretty compelling. Who else is doing it? A lot of companies doing it right now. And you see our labels up there as well. We love the system and we love to help you understand how TimeJam can help you as well. Final quote here from one of our customers of TimeJam. They absolutely love it and they found a huge benefits, and we think you will too. So if you're interested in understanding what TimeJam and our team can do for you, reach out. Don't worry, we're not salesy at all. We came from where you are right now, so we get it. And we love to chat with other leaders that are out there in the community. So give us a shout. You'll find a link right next to this video where you can schedule a meeting with us or even just reach out and chat. I look forward to talking with you then. Thanks.